Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders are staring down a precarious future as they approach the 2026 NFL season. And for General Manager Adam Peters, the challenges could signal a complete organizational disaster unless drastic measures are taken. The 2025 campaign exposed numerous flaws in roster construction, leaving the team with an aging, inconsistent, and injury-prone lineup that struggled to compete week in and week out. While Peters was celebrated for his brilliant work in 2024, guiding the Commanders to the NFC Championship behind the stellar play of rookie quarterback Jayden Daniels, the subsequent season demonstrated the harsh realities of mismanagement and missed opportunities, particularly on the defensive side of the ball. Peters' draft decisions, free agent signings, and overall roster strategy now stand under a harsh spotlight, as the team's inability to generate pressure, defend the pass, or sustain offensive production has left fans and analysts alike questioning the very foundation of the franchise's approach. The roster, once thought capable of contending for a Super Bowl, now looks vulnerable, and Peters faces the monumental task of rebuilding before the team falls further behind in a competitive NFC East landscape that shows no mercy for underperforming squads. At the heart of the 2025 collapse was Peters' draft strategy, which appeared to prioritize long-term developmental projects over immediate impact, particularly in critical positions like edge rusher. In 2024, the Commanders' Cinderella season was largely fueled by the breakout performance of Jayden Daniels, whose rookie contract offered the team a rare window to construct a championship-caliber roster around a young, cost-controlled quarterback. Peters sought to protect that investment by drafting offensive lineman Josh Connerly Jr. in the first round, a choice intended to secure the line for years to come. Connerly started all 17 games in 2025, suggesting durability and potential for long-term stability. Yet the decision came at the expense of the pass rush, a deficiency that haunted the Commanders all season. Nick Scourton, an edge rusher ranked 5th by Pro Football Focus and projected to be available at the 29th pick, slipped through Peters' fingers, ultimately going to the Carolina Panthers at pick number 51. Scourton's rookie campaign was electrifying, featuring 5 sacks, 9 quarterback hits, and 31 pressures, the highest for a rookie since tracking began, underscoring the devastating impact of the missed opportunity on Washington's defensive performance. The failure to address the edge rusher position left the team ranked 22nd in pressure rate, a statistic that reflects not just missed tackles, but a broader inability to disrupt opposing offenses effectively. The defensive shortcomings extended far beyond the lack of pass rush. The Commanders' defensive roster was a patchwork of aging veterans and inconsistent contributors, making it nearly impossible to sustain high-level play over the course of a grueling NFL season. Linebacker Bobby Wagner, despite his historic milestone of recording his 2000th career tackle, led a unit with little depth and questionable talent. At 35, Wagner may not return next season, and while his leadership is invaluable, the team cannot rely solely on him to anchor a struggling defense. Von Miller, the 36-year-old edge rusher, recorded 9 sacks, the most since 2021, yet his age and injury history cast doubt on whether he can continue to perform at a high level. Other defensive standouts, like cornerback Mike Sainristil with 4 interceptions, or Trey Amos, who showed promise before injury, offer glimmers of potential, but they fall short of creating a Pro Bowl caliber unit. Defensive tackle Darren Payne has declined from his Pro Bowl form, recording only 3 sacks and 8 quarterback hits, and Javon Kinlaw, despite a 3-year, $45 million contract, delivered career-low numbers. Even linebackers like Frankie Louvu saw significant regression, demonstrating that pass production is no guarantee of present success. The defense, collectively, lacks speed, consistency, and the playmakers needed to turn games in Washington's favor, and it may take until 2027 for a fully functional, top-half NFL defense to emerge, assuming Peters makes smarter decisions and experiences some favorable breaks in the draft or free agency. Offensively, The situation is no less concerning, as the Commanders' depth and talent outside of Jaden Daniels are questionable at best. Daniels remains the team's brightest asset, but his durability after a season plagued by injuries is a lingering concern. Wide receiver Terry McLaurin, despite a legacy of 5 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, will turn 31 next September and struggled through injuries in 2025, compiling only 582 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns over 10 games. His 3-year, $96 million contract raises eyebrows, particularly given his historical touchdown production, which rarely exceeds 5 in a season. Deebo Samuel, while still capable, is approaching the twilight of his NFL relevance, and the offensive line outside of Laramie Tunsil, who ranked 3rd in pass-blocking grade according to Pro Football Focus, is merely average. The tight end room is weak, particularly with the likely retirement of Zach Ertz, and the running backs have underperformed. Rookie Ja'Cory Cross-Gammeret offers a faint spark, but as a 7th-round selection with a couple of outlier games inflating his statistics, he cannot be counted on as a foundational piece. Without a significant infusion of speed and playmaking ability across skill positions, Peters faces an uphill battle to construct an offense that can consistently compete against fast, aggressive defenses. The need for fast receivers, a speedy tight end, and a dynamic running back is clear, and any future acquisitions or draft selections must prioritize above-average speed to begin to address the glaring deficits exposed in 2025. The Pro Bowl selections, or lack thereof, highlight the depth of the roster's issues. Washington had just one representative, punter Tressway, a statistic that underscores the systemic flaws in roster construction. While offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil deserved recognition, the remainder of the roster failed to produce standout contributors. Defensive playmakers were virtually non-existent, and the lack of explosive, game-changing talent on offense limited the team's ability to compete in critical moments. The absence of multiple Pro Bowl-level performers outside of Daniels reflects poorly on Peters' evaluation of talent and his ability to address roster gaps effectively. The 2025 season served as a cautionary tale, demonstrating how even a roster built around a star quarterback can collapse without complementer. Adding to the pressure is the question of age and contract management, particularly on the defensive side. Veterans like Bobby Wagner and Von Miller, while still productive, represent a limited window for immediate impact. Wagner, despite recording his 2000th career tackle, is 35 and may not return, while Miller, turning 37 in March, has expressed a desire to continue but is clearly nearing the end of his NFL career. The reliance on aging stars exposes the Commanders to further decline if replacements cannot be developed or acquired in time. Contract decisions, such as the costly 3-year deals for McLaurin and Kinlaw, complicate the financial landscape and limit flexibility in pursuing younger, faster, and more dynamic contributors. Peters must navigate the delicate balance between honoring veteran leadership, maintaining salary cap flexibility, and injecting youth and athleticism into a roster that has underperformed dramatically. The combination of aging stars, underwhelming depth, and poor positional planning underscores the severity of the rebuilding challenge, with the potential for continued struggles in 2026 if corrective measures are not taken decisively and swiftly. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. In an absolutely shocking turn of events that has left the football world reeling, the Washington Commanders have reportedly traded defensive powerhouse Darren Payne, sending waves of disbelief through the fan base and sparking intense speculation across social media and sports talk shows. Sources close to the team hint that this move, which many are calling unprecedented in its timing and impact, could signal a complete shakeup in the Commanders' strategy moving forward, potentially altering the landscape of the league in ways few could have imagined just weeks ago. Fans are pouring into forums, Twitter feeds, and comment sections in droves, trying to make sense of what has quickly become one of the most talked-about transactions in recent memory, with opinions ranging from sheer panic to cautious optimism about what the future might hold. The trade itself, still shrouded in some mystery as official details remain under wraps, seems to suggest that the Commanders' front office is looking to pivot in a direction that could be both bold and controversial. While some insiders speculate that the move is purely financial, designed to free up cap space for upcoming acquisitions or extensions, others are hinting at a more strategic angle, pointing to potential internal dynamics, locker room chemistry, or even emerging young talent that management might want to prioritize. What makes this story even more compelling is the timing. Darren Payne has been a cornerstone of the team's defensive line, a player whose presence on the field often shifted the momentum of games and whose leadership extended far beyond the gridiron. For a franchise to part ways with such a figure in a seemingly abrupt manner has ignited a firestorm of speculation among analysts, fans, and even rival teams, all trying to piece together the rationale behind a move that appears, on the surface, almost inconceivable. Adding fuel to the fire, some insiders suggest that the trade could have implications far beyond the Commanders themselves, potentially reshaping rivalries and altering the balance of power within the division. If the player heads to a team that has been quietly building a powerhouse roster, the ripple effects could be felt almost immediately, influencing everything from draft strategies to free agency negotiations. Fans are already theorizing about possible destinations, with speculation running the gamut from surprise reunions with former coaches to moves that could see him landing in a city where the defensive scheme perfectly suits his talents. Each rumor seems to spawn dozens more, as sports pundits dissect every angle, from contract clauses and injury histories to team culture and the psychology of trades in a high-pressure professional environment. The sheer volume of conjecture highlights how deeply Darren Payne's presence has been felt not just on the field, but in the minds and hearts of those who follow the sport religiously, as well as casual viewers who recognize the magnitude of losing a player of his caliber. What is particularly striking about this story is the reaction from the fan base, which has been both immediate and intense. Social media platforms have been flooded with a mix of disbelief, anger, and speculative excitement as supporters attempt to grapple with the sudden absence of a player they have cheered for relentlessly. Commentators have noted that the emotional impact on the locker room and on the team's wider fan community cannot be understated, as Darren Payne has long been regarded not only as a dominant force on defense, but also as a mentor and a figure capable of rallying his teammates in moments of adversity. The sense of betrayal some fans feel is palpable, with heated debates about the loyalty of players versus the business decisions of management dominating online conversations. At the same time, there are those who suggest that the move, while initially painful, could open the door to exciting new possibilities for the Commanders, hinting at a future where emerging stars step into the spotlight and redefine the team's identity in ways that might ultimately surprise even the most skeptical observers. Speculation also centers on the possible motivations behind the trade. Some insiders are hinting at a complex negotiation strategy, where the team may be leveraging Payne's undeniable talent to extract maximum value, whether in draft picks, young prospects, or strategic players who could fill multiple gaps simultaneously. Others are suggesting that the decision may stem from a desire to recalibrate the team's defensive philosophy, possibly transitioning toward a more dynamic or versatile system that relies on speed, agility, and depth rather than the brute force approach Payne embodies. Analysts are poring over every piece of available data, from snap counts and defensive grades to injury reports and contract clauses, trying to construct a narrative that makes sense of what, at first glance, seems like a move that defies conventional wisdom. The intrigue is compounded by the fact that there is no clear consensus among experts. Some see it as a calculated masterstroke that will pay dividends in the long term, while others predict immediate turbulence, questioning whether the team has gambled too heavily on potential rather than proven performance. Amid all this, whispers have emerged about possible behind-the-scenes drama, suggesting that the trade could have been influenced by interpersonal dynamics within the team, contract negotiations that reached a breaking point, or even strategic positioning by management in anticipation of upcoming league trends. While these claims remain unverified, The mere possibility adds another layer of intrigue to a story that was already gripping in its audacity. Fans are left to speculate endlessly, weighing the likelihood of each scenario against the backdrop of a franchise that has seen its share of ups and downs over the years, yet rarely, if ever, experienced a shakeup quite like this. The narrative seems almost cinematic: a star player, a sudden trade, and a fan base caught between disbelief and anticipation, wondering what the next chapter will hold for both the team and the league at large. As the rumor mill continues to churn, the broader implications for the Commanders are becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. Will this move serve as the catalyst for a reinvigorated team culture, unlocking new levels of performance and cohesion? Or will it create a vacuum that proves difficult to fill, leading to challenges both on and off the field? Analysts point out that trades of this magnitude are rarely one-dimensional. They influence not only team performance, but also fan engagement, sponsorship dynamics, media narratives, and even the psychological well-being of players who may feel the reverberations of a star teammate's departure. In other words, the impact of this single trade could extend far beyond the immediate loss of talent, potentially shaping the franchise's trajectory for years to come, and creating a story that sports journalists, analysts, and fans will be dissecting for seasons. Meanwhile, social media continues to act as both a sounding board and a pressure cooker, amplifying every rumor, theory, and speculation about Darren Payne's next move and the Commanders' future. Some fans have begun constructing detailed hypothetical scenarios, imagining how the team might restructure its defensive line, which young players could step into starting roles, and how coaching strategies might shift to compensate for the absence of a cornerstone player. Pundits are doing the same on televised segments, often debating the trade in almost theatrical terms, weighing potential risks and rewards with the intensity of high-stakes poker. The conversation has become so pervasive that even casual observers are aware of the news, turning the trade into a cultural moment that transcends mere sports reporting and enters the realm of narrative spectacle, where speculation, rumor, and analysis blend into a compelling story that captures attention and imagination alike. As the dust settles and more details begin to emerge, one thing is abundantly clear: this trade will not be forgotten anytime soon. The ripple effects are likely to influence not only the Commanders' immediate performance, but also the strategies of rival teams, the trajectory of Darren Payne's career, and the emotional tenor of the fan base. Whether viewed as a daring gamble, a strategic masterstroke, or a controversial misstep, the trade has created a narrative rich with tension, intrigue, and possibility, a story that will continue to unfold in real time and keep sports enthusiasts glued to screens, social media feeds, and talk shows alike. In a league defined by surprises and moments of high drama, few moves have managed to generate as much immediate speculation, debate, and emotional investment, and the saga of Darren Payne's departure from the Commanders promises to be a topic of conversation, analysis, and rumor for weeks, months, and perhaps even years to come. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.